The Last House of Sand, Day 1 to Day 21. Survival Sands. Marcus Reed, 38 years old, a Texan from a small town outside Abilene, had spent the last 10 years busting his ass at a concrete plant just north of Las Vegas, Nevada. 6 days a week, 12 hours a day, pouring, lifting, sweating. Every night he'd close his eyes and picture the same thing, going home to Texas and building a little house on a patch of land he'd saved for. But fate left him alone in the middle of the Mojave Desert. It was a Friday evening. The work truck's brakes failed on a remote access road. The rig flipped hard. Driver knocked out cold. The other crew scattered, hurt and panicked. Marcus's foot was torn up bad, his phone smashed, and his only water bottle exploded on impact. By the time the sun dropped, he was the last man standing, nothing but sand, rock, and burning wind in every direction. Day 1 to 2, just stay alive. The first night he lay there groaning in pain. When the sun rose, it hit like a furnace. He knew the rules. Stay out of the sun. Find water. Make shade. He dragged a big piece of tarp from the wrecked truck, the same stuff they used to cover loads. With his boots and bare hands he dug a 2-foot-deep pit in the sand, laid the tarp over it, and crawled inside. "This ain't my grave," he whispered. "This is my first house." That night he took an empty plastic bottle, set it on the tarp, and dug a small depression underneath with another scrap of plastic sheeting stretched across it, a simple dew trap. By morning he had about 60 milliliters of water. It tasted salty as hell, but it was liquid life. He licked every drop. Day 3 to 7, building the permanent hut. Marcus decided if he was going to last a week, a hole in the ground wasn't enough. He started hauling big desert rocks, the kind that rolled down from the mountains centuries ago. He stood 3 tall ones upright like walls. The fourth side he covered with the tarp. On top he layered dry brush, sand, and pieces of the wrecked truck for a roof. Inside he leveled the floor and laid his torn shirt as a bed. His foot was getting worse. He heated sand on a piece of metal in the sun and packed it around the wound like a dry heat compress. The pain eased a little. When the hut was finished, he scratched on the rock wall with a sharp stone. Day 7, now I got a house. Day 8 to 12, water and food war. Water was still the killer. One day he limped almost 3 miles and spotted a tiny green bush. He dug down around the roots and found maybe 300 milliliters of muddy water. He strained it through his shirt and drank it. For food he ate the bitter little fruits from desert shrubs that at least gave some moisture. One afternoon he caught a small lizard. Using the truck's cigarette lighter he started a fire and roasted it. First hot meal in days. Every night he stared at the stars and muttered the same words. "Lord, just give me one more chance." Day 13 to 18, storm and hope. One night a full-blown sandstorm hit. The roof ripped away, rocks tumbled. Marcus wrapped himself in the tarp and buried himself in the sand until it passed. When it was over he rebuilt the hut stronger. This time he packed the rocks together with wet sand that hardened like cement in the sun. During those days he thought he saw a distant road sign on the horizon. But he was too weak to walk that far yet. He made himself a promise. "If nobody comes, I'll crawl to that road myself." Day 19 to 21, the final fight and rescue. On day 20 he drank his last drops of water. Early on day 21 he started limping toward where he thought the highway was. 4 hours later he saw a dust cloud, a big rig coming down the road. Marcus ripped off his shirt and waved it like a flag. The truck stopped. The driver stared in shock. "Brother, you alive out here?" Marcus broke down crying. "Yeah, and my house is still standing too." They rushed him to the hospital in Las Vegas. He survived. Months later Marcus Reed built that little house on his land outside Abilene, Texas. But he never forgot the real one, the sand hut in the Mojave where he learned how to live all over again. Nighttime in the desert. The tiny hut still stands, lonely but proud. The camera slowly zooms out, until it's just a single spark of life glowing in the endless ocean of sand. Survival Sands, the Last House of Sand.